across Ghana, when the ministers of Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals
right across Ghana, when the ministers of Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them out there.
What's the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health.
Hi.
Is the State Department currently preparing to engage with the Biden transition team? And if not, at what point does a delay hamper a smooth transition or pose a risk to national security?
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration. All right.
Right across Ghana, when the ministers of Granger or Nagamutu come here after the 21st of March, you say to them, walk behind them, chase them out, they're going to be illegal.
It means that we would not have gotten the statements of poll for every polling station. To be honest, the People's Republic Party have only a handful of statements of poll. The people who will have statements of poll for all the polling stations would be the large parties, which would be
pressure boss fight.
Maybe the Chinese company that did not get the agreement that they wanted here, maybe they're the ones who told you, or it could be just a fictitious thing.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Sujaro?
So my relationship?
Pressure boss fight.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Oh, I got caught off guard, and seldomly that happens, right? I'm glad that I'm all dressed and all set for this show. Good evening to all of you, every single one of you. We are going to rock and roll this evening with some serious things happening. the oil, gas, or the energy expo, or whatever you want to call that. It was more like a political exhibition. The folks out from Barbados, we had, Santoki. Many of you may not remember Santoki, but he's the guy that ensured that Roger Khan got grabbed and took the people who were looking for Roger Khan, took him away. Good. So Santoki, he was the guy. He was the big guy out in Suriname, who caught Majal, Halascoot, to President Santoki out here in Suriname. Welcome to Guyana. He's in Guyana steady. But I tell you what, lots and lots of corruption in Suriname. Allegations of bribery and all these manner of things. I don't know if you guys heard, but the Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. Ramdeen, allegations, mind you, of an oil company in Holland, the Netherlands, actually allegedly, mind you, paid bribery, and all manner of things. So when President Santoki, I believe the guy who was introducing him, said that Mr. Santoki, President Santoki, is a Guyanese. And then Santoki, got up and say that his counterpart, his so-called counterpart, that is, Irfan Ali, is a Sudanese, right? I smile. Because if that level of corruption that is happening in the highest levels, according to allegations, mind you, of the Sudanese government, then President Santoki, don't mistake and mispronounce the name, it is Santoki. He is in right company. So when you see them there together and they're holding hands and they're shaking hands and they're talking about business and business deals, understand what this is all about. At the end of the day, will the people of Suriname, the Surinamese in Paramaribo and Nikeri, wherever they are, will they benefit? Is Santoki government clean? I don't know. When Santoki was the national security minister, so to speak, I kind of liked him. He was a tough guy, tough on crime, tough on the drug lords, tough on the money launderers. But you know what I want President Santoki to do? Not only shake hands with alleged crooks and fraudsters and these allegations, alleged, mind you, right? Alleged, mind you. I want him to be tough on those corrupt individuals and levels of allegations of corruption in his government by serving ministers in his government. I want him to be tough on them, just like he was tough on Roger Khan and other drug lords. Be tough across the board, Santoki. Nevertheless, welcome to Guyana. I've also noticed that the president of Ghana has slipped up. Instead of saying Ghanaian or Guyanese, he said the people of Ghana. Forgot that he was in Guyana. And the smirk on Jack Dare's face, because Jack Dare doesn't want people to associate Ghana with Guyana or the mistakes or so forth. It hurts their feelings. It raised their bumps and their emotions and whatever else. But the president of Ghana, they were there. We saw the hypocrisy. And this is not knocking the president of Ghana. He is there to represent his country and whatever deal they can squeeze out of other country. So they see an opening with these guys in the installed regime who are being accused of all manner of things. Accusations, mind you. I just thought that I remind you guys that accusations and allegations. So whatever a president of Ghana can squeeze out of these Nimakarans, he will do just that. So you can't fault these guys. Now, Maya Motley was there. Mama Maya. Mama Mia. Maya Motley ain't know nothing about oil and gas and energy or nothing. Nothing at all. And mind you, not so long ago, scores of Guyanese were placed on the bench, sitting down on the bench in Barbados, sent back to Guyana, rounded up, and all manner of things. Maya Motley was there. Remember, she was the Attorney General also. They might pretend as though they like Guyanese, we like Guyanese, go blind, we Guyanese, nice, whatever else. I was in Barbados. On my way to Barbados, I saw Guyanese sitting on the bench. It was sad. But today we saw Maya Motley standing there suddenly become an expert on oil and gas. An expert. Lots of experts. I should be an expert too. The Honorable Odo Best should be an expert too on oil and gas. Let's bring him on, man. The Honorable. Your microphone, unmuted, please. Before you begin, let me congratulate you guys on pulling that protest off today. Great job. A great job, sir. Your mic, unmuted, and let's go. Welcome to Straight Up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to be here and happy to be talking to the world, because I know you have a very large platform. I know a lot of people look at you. And it was hard work. It was very hard work in putting together the protest today, because as you would know, Guyanese people have become a kind of a complacent people, and they now, unfortunately, it takes a whole lot to get them to come out. So the whole narrative had to be different. The whole approach got to be different, and that's the only way. And what is also very spectacular about that protest today, if you notice, all the races were there. It wasn't a PPP, it wasn't a PNC approach. It was a Guyanese approach. Guyanese are asking for betterment, and Guyanese, it's all about Guyanese, and Guyanese demanding a better lifestyle and satisfactory living conditions for us as a country. I would like to echo the words of the Prime Minister, or the President now that they have become a Republic of Barbados. We ought not to be tenants in our own country.
Yeah, but a lot of our people were treated badly in her little island. We got to be realistic. She suddenly knows that we ought not to be tenants. She should be telling, not dealing them that, because I don't know, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, for recent, I have been watching her, the way she's been performing on the world stage at international conferences, and I was very much, I am still very much impressed. Even today, I was impressed by her approach. For some reason or the other, I'm beginning to think that she had some kind of wake-up call sometime recent, that now she have turned on a different page.
You think she probably is a born again right now? But let me say this. I don't have a personal problem against Prime Minister Maya Motley, but I do believe she had it wrong. She sided with riggers, very, very bad people for Guyana. And I think it is difficult for me to forgive her. Yes, her performance in other areas, performances are very commendable. But what she did to Guyana was treasonous. That's just my opinion, how I feel about what she did in embracing riggers at the elections, the 2020 elections. And based on the evidence that we have seen, Honorable, we know what transpired, and we know that the riggers are in office based on the evidence at the recount process. But go ahead, Honorable Odo. Go ahead.
Well, it's clear, Mr. Benchop, that Guyanese are clear. We are convinced what took place there. They themselves know. They're just trying to convince themselves otherwise. The reality and the truth is clear. What she did to us as a people is unsatisfactory and unacceptable. We at no time could never accept that. But from my research in Barbados is going through some serious economic turmoil, and even being blacklisted internationally. So I'm beginning to think, as Barnum states, politics is about the art of making deals. I'm somehow want to believe that is a deal she struck to try to get herself and our nation out of the predicament that it finds itself in. So if she do work with this present administration and a good deal was signed, knowing that Guyana now a powerful nation in terms of the oil and gas, will help her to come out the barrel that she's in.
Oh, so you're saying that it is okay for her to
those are my thoughts in
go
that.
the dark tunnel with even the devils and sell her soul to the devil. I don't know. I'm kind of confused with that you've taken. Here's what I want you to do for us, Honorable. But I respect your opinion, mind you. People are not you don't have to come here and agree with me. You're free to your opinion. It's okay. But it's okay for you to 1 second, Honorable.
No, but I don't think they understand me. I am saying
yeah. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Something is wrong with your phone.
But
maybe,
just to clear,
yeah, go ahead.
Just to clear that up before we go on, I am saying I'm not saying I agree. I would speak up against it, but from her perspective, she had to do something to keep herself alive. So she sacrificed us. So she sacrificed us, the Guyanese people. She sacrificed the Guyanese people for her own personal survival. That is what she did. So for us, it's an unforgivable action. But for herself and our fellow Bajans, they do what they had to do to survive. And that means sacrificing us as a people.
I got you. And most Guyanese will never forgive her for making us a sacrificial lambs. They'll never forgive. She probably knew, and probably still, that
Mr. Benchpa, you hear me?
That the elections were highly questionable. Yet she embraced the rigors of the elections. The rigors.
Okay.
That's all.
Apparently you want to ask me a question, but I didn't get a question. Could you repeat that question for me, please?
All right. Can you hear me now, Mr. Honorable Odo Best? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Yeah, but I can't hear you. No, maybe Maya Motley is jamming your phone. All right. I can't hear him for some reason or the other. We'll try to get him back on shortly. But I got his point. Sacrificial lamb. I think she knew exactly what she did. And to continue to embrace the rigors is unforgivable. All right. So let's check Mr. Odo Best again.
I don't know.
Best,
the mic is on. Everything seems to be okay here. I don't know why you're not hearing me.
All right. Let's not panic for a moment. Let's not panic. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? All right. Here's
I am hearing you all the time. I am hearing you.
Thank you. Good. So, what were some of the sentiments expressed?
I am hearing you.
Today's program.
I am hearing you.
What were some of the sentiments? What were some of the sentiments?
I am hearing you. I am hearing you.
What were some of this? I am hearing you. What were some of the sentiments expressed at today's protest?
Okay, what I can say clearly from what is the sentiments, Guyanese people. I heard you. I heard you. I heard the question. Pain, disrespect, humiliated, and deprived. Deprived. Those were among the sentiments expressed by the Guyanese people today during that protest. It is very, very, very painful situation to see us in the state that we are in, and we have all this, and these guys have an international conference as we raise our island gas, and the average Guyanese was not able to even get into that conference. They were special and handpicking. They were handpicked. Sorry, they were handpicked invitees. It is very sad. It is very sad. So the people on the ground out there were very, 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 very pumped up, because the thing that listen, is a time that we fight for what is ours. And we're not going to relax and allow anyone to fight for us anymore. We have to take this fight so that we remain alive and we protect our children and our grandchildren and the generations to come. And I would like the Guyanese who are listening to this program to follow that same path as we fight to ensure our futures are protected, not only for ourselves, but our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. This kind of foolishness and this level of leadership is outdated. We are now living in the 21st century, and a click of our button, we can see and make comparisons as to what's going on across the world, and we are not going to settle for less. And the way in which they continue to present budgets to us, and we are not even asking for jobs as a people. We're asking for jobs. We want upliftment. I'm going to be very frank with you, Mark. From looking at the way, for example, the Saudis are dealing with the citizens, the people in Qatar are dealing with the citizens, the people from Oman dealing with the citizens. Do you know who work in those countries? They have to import labor from Bangladesh and the Philippines and those countries. Those people are well protected and they enjoy what is rightly theirs. In Guyana, they are trying to tell us that we have to go and look for a job to work and toil to get money. We're not accepting that. 80% of a budget crafted is designed to be spent on contract and infrastructure works. Giving these thieves an opportunity to steal our monies, we are not going to accept it anymore. These same people who refusing to give taxpayers, to give public servants, the people who are turning the wheels of the government a proper living wage. They are paying the taxes for a multi-monstrous company like ExxonMobil. How much more disgraceful can people get? How much more disgraceful a thing like this be? You can't give your public servants a decent living wage. The people who are responsible to turn the wheels of a nation, but here you are, prepared and willing to pay the taxes of ExxonMobil, and you seem to be happy about it because at the end of the day, their pockets are full and they treated our money like if it's theirs. We are not going to have it. We had enough of poverty and we put in an end to this. And that's why we demonstrated today and we showed the Guyanese population and the world, hello, we ain't got this Indian and black issue anymore. We are going to push. We are going to push. The fight is now a battle between the have and the have-nots. We are fed up being in a position of the have-nots. We are going to ensure that we be among the haves, and this wealth that's ours must be treated as if it's ours, or we're going to force them. They're going to force their hands until they do so. We are not going to sit back, relax, and be just carried on the way they have been governing over the years. We had enough of this nonsense. I met brother.
All right, problem there with the Honorable Odo Best. Let's try to have him back on. I don't know. A lot of people are fed up. They are fed up about the division under the PPP regime. They're fed up about the criminals who are at the office of the president, real criminals who are being paid to blog on the fake names. You will see some of the fake names showing up. We know Labalip, Lick is responsible for that, along with some other criminals. And that is how this regime operates. When Irfan Ali jumps up at the podium and he stands among other dignitaries, president of Ghana, president of Suriname, and their friend of Barbados, they can talk all they want. At the end of the day, reality in Guyana is that the PPP regime, the installed PPP regime, is running Guyana way down to the ground. Let us hope that Mr. Odo Best is back up with us. I'm told that he is. And let us hear what transpired there at this protest here. Oh, you're still talking, Mr. Odo Best. You're back with us.
No, thank you very much. I could remember where I stopped off. I met persons from every sector or every area in Guyana, basically, who came out there. When I turned on my cameras and I went live, and I called on Guyanese to come out, a lot of Guyanese responded. A lot of Guyanese respond, and that's a great sign. They need to get it. They need to understand that we ain't having this foolishness anymore. And the way you're trying to divide us, as I indicated in an interview, a brief interview with Sherrod today, that they are trying to separate us by giving the Indo-Guyanese a little more of the wealth than they give the Afro-Guyanese. I want the Indo-Guyanese to understand, don't consider yourself privileged, because what they're giving to you is still crumbs. We all know of the $250,000 blotted out to the sugar workers to pamper them up. But hear what? That could hardly start a proper business in Guyana. The Small Business Bureau hands out $500,000, twice the amount to start a business. So here what happened, don't feel too privileged. And as the next attempt to try to separate you from the rest of the population. We need to come together, as was demonstrated today, so that these people can get it. We're not having this foolishness anymore. I was there with my brothers of every single ethnicity. We drank, we ate, we make nice, we make our voices up, and it was a great. The cooperation was amazing. The feeling, the love, the joy was amazing. We enjoy fighting alongside each other.
All right, so stick a pin.
And this is what I would like to be echoed. So the rest.
While you guys were out there, we saw the camaraderie and so forth and so on. Commendable, and I salute you guys. Glenn Lal and others who were out there to make this thing happen. I salute you guys. But what the police did they say anything? Did they harass you guys? Did they try to chase you guys? What happened?
Yes, we were harassed. Actually, we were trying to stand in the closer to the Marriott Hotel so we can engage or let the foreigners see the plight that we're experiencing here as a people. And don't be too fooled by the glamour, the glitter that's in the building, and the fancy suits and the big smiling faces. So we wanted to make that statement. They pushed us back about a corner away, all right, a little over the cocoa, so we had to stand there. But eventually we were able to raise our voices to the extent so at least the people could hear, and some of them actually came through and came out to see what's going on there. The police, as usual, one police moving from one position tell us go beyond the barricades. When we get beyond the barricades, another side people say, listen, you gotta go beyond the cocoa. Again, systemic harassment. When we were using our small, very small bullhorns, they were saying you can't use that amplifier, and then we showed them this is not an amplifier. And we continue doing what we were doing to ensure that the message is out there. But you asked a question previously, you asked why exactly we were there. We were a number of different organizations and civil society organizations were there. I was in the movement of civil unity and some of my other members. You had Mr. Glenn Lal and his team. They had Sister Pendon and the Ghana Day team. There were a lot of different persons out there which to express different things. But at the end of the day, we all were dissatisfied with the way things are going, and we all saying that, hey, we had enough. And we all saying we want a better life. All of us were echoing that one cry. We want a better life. Some persons were saying Afro-Guyanese need to be treated better. Afro-Guyanese need to be treated better when it comes to the distribution of contracts and when it comes to the share of oil wealth. Some were saying, listen, we want a better oil deal. Some are saying, listen, we need to have insurance for the oil. We need full coverage insurance should something go wrong, we don't suffer. And the other Caribbean countries put lawsuits in us and drive us back into poverty. Some were saying we need to have ring fencing put in place so that our wealth could stay in our will belong in our pockets. So the cry basically was dissatisfaction by everyone what's things that happen in this country. When we measure it all, we are basically saying we want a better life. And we're not going to be satisfied with foolishness and following different organizations in the hope of they are looking after our interests. Guyanese people are waking up to realize that, hey, we have to fight for what is ours. And now they're not afraid to say it to even their political parties. They're saying to them, hey, we dissatisfied with what's happening there. During my broadcast, one guy was expressing dissatisfaction with the member of parliament from the opposition end because they were never even invited. Such an important conference. You have foreigners are coming here and sitting at the table, and here you have the opposition was part of the government weren't invited. Why were the members of the opposition, MPs from the opposition bench, why were they with us today? A lot of persons were very disturbed because they see them as representative of the people. They were placed there to represent the people. And here we are telling you, these are our concerns, and we want you to help to deal with this, and they refuse the one there. There are persons who are supportive to the PPP is making it clear, we know you're a bunch, you're a pack of thieves, and hey, we having it no more. And now that's tell people PPP and PNC, and then at the end of the day, we remain in poverty, and Guyana sinks. We had enough of it. You understand? So it's like we love you, but we're not gonna love you to the detriment of ourselves.
All right, let me.
And that is commendable.
While you guys were out there, the few of you, and I commend you guys. I just wish that there were a few thousands out there, including all of the opposition parties, except the one that is drinking lots and lots of soup. Schumann seemed to be drinking a lot of political soup, appears to be prostituting himself politically and don't give a damn about the people. So he's not going to be out there, right? He's just not going to be out there because he's operating, according to the man in the streets, mind you, as a political pimp. He's not concerned about the people. Don't be fooled. But the bulk of the other opposition people should have been out there. You know, protests happen. spontaneous protest happens. Protest doesn't have to be properly planned. Good evening to my good friend Sherman. It doesn't have to be properly planned, Mr. Green, right? But while you were out there, Honorable Odo Best, did anybody in the nice fancy suits came out to talk with you guys? Did some visitors come out to talk with you guys? And if so, what were some of the things they said to y'all?
I could remember seeing a few gentlemen came out. I remember seeing a few gentlemen coming out in their suits, but like taking cameras or probably taking a footage. I could remember seeing them doing that. But they weren't speaking to me directly, and they were speaking to some other some of my brothers who were there more up, and I was just looking on from the back to see what's going to take place and how this is going to project. We were trying to keep the rhythm of the protest nicely so that the people can remain mobilized and energized and feel the energy and pump the energy and to bring out more people out there to make our statement. But I could remember seeing a few persons coming out.
You guys didn't run into any foreign dignitaries like maybe your good friend Maya or Santoki from Suriname or the president of Ghana?
I think they took special care to ensure that they don't meet with us. We would have been happy to give them a warm welcome, but unfortunately, they didn't trust us.
All right, so now joining us, we have the Honorable Odo Best. What happens tomorrow, sir?
I think we're preparing to go there tomorrow again and do some. I have some business to look after in the morning. I gotta try this out. Be quick, I can get it wrapped up. But my intention is to be there tomorrow. And for the persons who are listening in, I will ask you guys to come out there and lend your support, because it's a national interest, it's a national cry, and we need to ensure that these people get the message. We may have to position ourselves at a different angle because we weren't. I don't think, although we know we were effective, we weren't effective enough. We want an opportunity to meet the dignitaries, and I'm trying to figure out why the government don't want us to meet the dignitaries. We want to give them a warm welcome. We would like to meet them. They can come and have a chat with us. Find out how things are happening here.
If you get a chance to talk with not your friend, somebody that you admire, Prime Minister Maya Motley, and you have every right to admire somebody. It doesn't mean that because the bulk of us don't admire her as a result of what she did in Guyana, that is the reason why Guyana is the reason why the country is in that state. Corruption and frustration and persecution and all manner of things, division, compliments of our friends in the PPP, Irfan Ali, Bharat Jagdeo, and others. But if you had an opportunity to sit and have a 5 minutes discussion with the presidents of Ghana and Suriname, what exactly would you say to them, sir, concerning Guyana right now?
I would first of all, the Suriname president, I would have been asking him, what are some of the details of the contracts signed with the Isle Giants? Because it is known that Suriname had a better deal than even Guyana. And ask him if you have given any word of advice to his Guyanese counterpart, encouraging them to get what he has there. Since we all in this one region, and we are brothers and sisters here in the region. These are some of the questions I would pose to him. I would want him to raise with our leaders here, our present leaders, since our leaders seem to be unwilling to speak to us, because it's very shameful that no MPs from the government side didn't even come to find out what are the concerns, what are you guys concerned, what are you guys protesting for, what are the things really bothering you. They didn't seem to give a damn. And that speaks clearly to the kind of leadership that we be dealing with. You do what you have to do, we do what we have to do. You know why? Because the thing that this country is theirs. We have news for you guys. We intend to remind you that this is not your country, and we would not allow you to treat it the way. If I had an opportunity to speak for the guy in Ghana, I wouldn't want to ask him about the corruption allegations levied against him, but I would ask him exactly what was his real purpose here and how his visit would have been helpful to the Guyanese people to see that we actually achieve or to lift our standard. I would want to know what exactly are you saying to our fools here, I mean our leaders here, to ensure that we get a better option. These are some of the questions I would want to ask him.
If you
Had I had
were
the
to,
opportunity to speak with the truth.
you mentioned corruption in his government in Ghana. What would be two corruption, recent corruption allegations of corruption that you'll have him address to you that's happening in Ghana?
Well, one of the stuff I heard just recently, in passing, I started on social media. They were talking the way he'd been spending the taxpayers' money, his personal money, and they traveling a lot around the world, and this seemed not to be bringing back anything tangible to his people after spending that amount of money to do whatever he has to do. It seems to be like he's going on personal business trips rather than country business at the expense of the citizens. Those are one of the things those are what I mean. I feel it. I mean, those are one of the things I've seen they brought against him. All right, and I could remember that distinctly. There are a few others, but I'm not too clear in my head as to what exactly. Yeah, those are, and I don't want to misguide people.
Fair enough. We got you. What is your take though? Because you can't blame these guys for coming to Guyana. They were invited by the people who have been installed into government. They were invited. So we can't blame them. They were invited to come. And we've got to welcome them to Guyana, albeit under the questionable circumstances. But what is your take on the installed regime not inviting a single member, a single legitimate member? I say legitimate because forget about that one political prostitute, Schumann. Forget about him. He's not a legitimate opposition member. But what is your take on the installed regime not inviting the leader of the PNC, the leader of the AFC, the folks who run the WPA, and so forth and so on? What is your take on those folks not being invited, sir?
It is very disgraceful, and it tells you exactly how these people intend to govern. They intend to govern this country, and this country belongs to them. And they can do what the hell they want, how they want. And we will have to take a stand against that. The people that is they clearly saying to us, this country belongs to us, and we do the hell we want. We don't care who the hell say anything. All right? That's the message they're sending to us. And we need to send it back clearly to them that we ain't going to have it. We ain't going to have this. Your parents didn't leave this to you. Your grandparents didn't leave this to you. This is our nation. It ain't going to happen. That's why, again,
where you live and in your community, I know you travel, you go about the place, whether in Madhya, you go around the country because you're genuinely concerned about what's happening in your country. What are some of the sentiments expressed by ordinary folks when you travel in a minibus or you're in a motorbike or on your bicycle or wherever you are, sir? What are some of the sentiments?
Frustration. Guyanese people are presently frustrated. Is that they don't know what to do next. Then they can tell you, even the vagrant can say to you in Guyana, what are some of the problems and how disgusting it is. The beggar, the barber, the minibus driver, the conductor, every single person can say to you, this is what we're experiencing, how disgusting it is. How much we need to be elevated. Right? Everyone can say that. Everyone can say that to you. Right?
Yeah, I'm still trying to hear you. It seems as though your phone is going.
I'm trying to get it off.
Please do. We have some patience.
Me a minute.
We got yes.
Hold on for me a minute.
Yeah, Udo, that's all right. And one of the reasons I will be patient with you, Mr. Best, is that you're brave enough to stand up and do what you're doing on behalf of all those who are not brave enough to even make themselves present, to pick up a placard and go in front of, let's say, the Marriott and do what you and a few others are doing. And that's why I'll have all the patience in the world for you to fix your phone. Even if it's a flip phone and it falls down, flip it back open.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, my brother. And I'm being very honest about that. I salute you. At least you're not like a lot of those armchair politicians or those keyboard folks who say,
Thank you
come
very
on,
much.
why don't you this? And why
To the
don't you that?
patience.
And why don't people this? And why don't you? And a lot of them are right there in Guyana. They wouldn't do what you are doing and what the few others are doing. And thank you, Glenn Lal, also for what you are doing and the
Yeah.
few others on the ground. That is why I say I support and I admire your courage, sir. And this is from the bottom of my heart. Continue. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just hold for me, just hold for me, just hold for me a minute. I'm having some serious difficulties here. I don't know what's really causing it.
What is it?
I
What
don't
is it
know what's happening here.
Is it your phone?
I'm okay, good.
You know, we got to respect and support the brother. You know, because it is not easy to be out there to stand up against a vicious regime, as the PPP is vicious. They were vicious for the 20-something years they've been in office. They continue to be vicious. They continue to be heartless. They're cruel against their own people, even their own supporters. And I heard an interview. This guy, the installed Minister of Infrastructure, he says that he's a bishop. We don't know whether he is legit or not. But Edgil was talking about what they did, that since they got into office, through questionable circumstances, of course, that they were able to pay pensioners $8,000. They increased pension. It's like, when I heard that, I'm like, this guy is not really a bishop. He couldn't be a bishop. Because for 23 years they've been in office. Ask them what they did. Ask them what they did for pensioners. Ask them what they did for civil servants. Ask them what they did for workers throughout the country. Ask them what they did to sugar workers, the sugar industry, and the corruption with that big white elephant, $200 million spent on the Skeldon factory and other stuff. Ask them what they did and what happened during the PPP years when Wales Estate and other estates were closed and sugar were no longer sweet under the PPP regime. These folks are the last bunch of people on this earth to want to talk about morality and righteousness and what they did for people. 20-something years, they have not done anything. The money laundering bill, they refuse to have that pass for obvious reasons. But this guy is our guest. He's a hero. He goes out there, he gets things done. Even if we got to find you a new phone, pick up some sort of look, even if I got to send this phone to you, this is some Galaxy 8 or 7 or whatever. I'm not an iPhone guy. Send it to you because you know why? You deserve it. You do what lots of people are afraid to do. And you do what lots of people could only type up. Bad boy and bad girls typing up. I salute you, but continue. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mark. And you touch on a point that is very important to what I do. Because I personally can do a lot of things. People have been calling me across the country. Last Saturday, I went to Borbisa Bath. Some people call me, they have some issues they want me to look into it, where the police have been doing stuff to them and some other experiences that they had with stealing the cab. They want me to cover the story. They want me to see how much I can work on their behalf, to make calls on their behalf, to push certain processes. I got a call from Perica, and I've been going all the way. And let me tell you something, Mark. People were glad for me to work with them, but it's also very costly on me because I have to use my own resources to do this, right? Because some of them may not even be in the position to support me. So since we're on this platform, we're on this topic, for those who are listening, there's a lot that I would want to do, right? I'm willing to do. I will glad for persons to make contact with me My numbers are out there, 6555742, 6555742, because I need a lot of support because I gotta go places. I want to go places because there are a lot of things to bring to the world that people don't know what's happening in this country. When you go into certain villages and go into certain areas, when the parade those foreign dignitaries in certain places and show them fancy houses, I want them to see where they don't see we are the majority, where people are living in slums. Our rich country, people are living in slums. People don't have running water. Could you believe Guyana, our rich country, the Pomeroon as we speak, don't have portable running water. The Pomeroon as we speak don't have no electrical system in the nights. You put my hands inside is very white. I put it in front of my face, the place is dark and I can't see it. This is what the reality is. I have been in those places. I walk with those people on the ground, discussing with them to see how we can resolve it. Our rich Guyana, less than 300,000 adults, they can't address these simple things. They go in the Amerindia villages and give them solars, and the people in Pomeroons, they don't give a damn about them. You can't power those people. You can't ensure those people have proper water system, running water to the taps. People have to use the river water in this day and age, in the 21st century. And you boasting you have a budget of over $500 billion Guyana, and you can't address these basic needs of the people? What the hell are you doing with our monies? Why you think you only have that right and the privilege to steal our monies and do the hell you want to do that? And travel around the world, you and your children and your families, we are aware of it. We ain't having it anymore. Address the plight of the people. When you go in certain areas and see some background, some of the people are living, guys, in a bad state. The hustle to put oil to gas project to benefit who?
Let me stick a pin, and I support with what you're saying 100%. And they talk about development and so forth. This is quarantine. This is quarantine. This is a bridge, and I know this bridge. J.R. Crawford is watching. Other folks from Alice Village, we know this bridge. This is a bridge. This was around since we were little boys. And this bridge is still there. For 23 plus years, the PPP didn't fix these bridges. They didn't fix these things in this area. Look, Alice, this is separating Little Alice from Big Alice. This bridge, we all used to swim in that trench. I am just serious. Look, the bridge is still the same. Look at it. This is the back. The road, one street away from the actual public road. This is the street. This is where the kids got to walk to go to school. They got to walk to go to school in an oil-rich country where we see these other dignitaries are coming and they're getting their big deals and all these things. Look, and this is a mixed village. 23 years they couldn't fix these sort of things. Well, I don't know if they expected the coalition to fix all the roads and the bridges around the country. But if I were the president of a country for 23 years or even for 12 and a half years, there's no way this bridge would have been existing. Shame on the PPP. Shame on them. Look what's happening in Blackbush Polder. Rice farmers complain every single day. Look at how they have to travel this road. There are kids who got to go to school and all these manner of things. Shame on the PPP. Shame on them. Look, this is Georgetown, I believe. Look at what's happening. This is the job they're creating for people. This is what they're doing in an oil-rich country. Look at how these guys are living. Look at Jack Dave's house, built on that plot of land that is controversial, how he acquired it, so forth and so on. Look at Irfan Ali's property when he was just 31 years old, just got in as a minister of housing. Look at these people. Look at them. And then look at this here now. This is Jack Deere's property. That house is possibly the house that he owns, right obliquely opposite him. That is where the guy who is supposed to be Sue, that is where Sue is living.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for letting me see who Sue is. Because even today people are asking who is Sue. Well, I don't have an opportunity to see who is Sue. Thank you.
You know no Sue? That is Sue.
No, I'm weird.
Let me ask you this. Sue has denied saying whatever. He denied giving Jack Deere bribe or corruption. He has denied it. But do you believe Sue? Do you believe Sue? Do you believe Sue?
I wouldn't want to put myself on the line right now, but the Guyanese people are fully aware what's happening. The Guyanese people are fully aware. We understand that kind of game and that kind of play way too well. We know exactly what to believe and what not to. All of us come from the same.
Even though Sue denied that he ever made probably such a statement of giving Jack Deere bribe. Let us say he never came out, allegedly. We don't know whether he did that, but we saw just a statement. He didn't come out and say it. We never saw him making that statement. But let us say that he didn't deny or whatever. Or even if he denied it. I'll tell you this, Mr. Odu Best. I, Mark Anthony Balaram Bensha, believe what Sue has said 100%. 100%. And now let's go back to this house. I'm not going to pussyfoot around and be afraid to say I don't believe. It sounds believable. It is something that even majority of the supporters of the PPP would say, that sounds true, you know. It sounds like Sue. Jack Deere rushed to deny it. Jack Deere pulled a quick stunt. He said, not true. Not true. And not only did he say not true, he said, Sue said not true too. So, Sue said it's not true. But I believe Sue. I don't believe Jack Deere. I don't want Jack Deere to tell me what Sue said. I want to see Sue. I want to interview Sue. Sue, would you allow me to interview you? I don't know. It sounds comical, but it's not. But these folks want people to believe that they're angels. I don't believe that they're angels. They're far.
We are aware of what's happening, and we know the level of wickedness that's happening. The Guyanese people are aware. As I indicated earlier, even the vagrant is aware of this. I've listened to them around the big market of the areas, talking among themselves, talking with people.
Vagrants, not because they're vagrants mean that they're stupid. You know, lots of vagrants are intelligent people. I have more respect for vagrants on the streets than some of those vagrants in parliament. Trust me, on the regime side of the vagrants.
I really do like your sense of humor. Yeah, and it is necessary when you deal with serious issues to take a break every now and then to go and come and don't just keep it all the time under strain, under pressure. I think it's a great strategy. But the Guyanese people are aware what's happening. We cannot be easily fooled. We just play the fool, and there's serious call in Guyana for leadership.
You know what, Mr. Best? You know what, Mr. Best? We can't keep playing the fool all the time, you know. We cannot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, cat eat with dinner. Look at what the PPP is doing to Guyana. Look at what they have done almost 2 years now in office. We cannot keep playing the fool. Somebody's asking who is Sue. This guy is supposed. This is Sue. This is the Sue that they're talking about. This is Sue. I want to interview Sue. I want to hear from Sue. I want to know whether it is true or not. I don't want Jack Deere, of all person, this guy, Jack Deere, to tell me, to say to me that, and this is what Jack Deere says. Sue has denied making bribery allegations. Oh, really? Let him go to the police and deny that, Jack Deal. I don't trust what you have to say, Jack Deal. Majority of Guyanese do not trust what you have to say, Jack Deal. I don't know if my guest Nigel London, the apostle, trusts what Jack Deal has to say. Do you trust what he has to say? Good night and welcome.
Good night, and good night to you, Mr. Best, and to all of your viewers. I certainly do not trust what he has to say. Cannot recall a moment when I would have trusted anything he had to say.
That makes two of us. And I'm sure that you're speaking on behalf of most Guyanese. Welcome to the show. We still have a few minutes remaining. Thank you for taking time out. I know you've had a busy day. What is your take on this energy expo and the fact that the opposition, main opposition parties and the leaders and so forth were shut out? They were not invited. Your take, sir?
My take is that it's a catastrophic event yet again in our country. It is an embarrassment to the people of Guyana. It certainly speaks volumes to Irfan Ali's speech and his rhetoric about there being one Guyana. And when there's an opportunity yet again for him to demonstrate that that's exactly what he means, he shows us that he has no intention to have that one Guyana objective achieved. But what is most upsetting to me is the fact that the conference was allowed to go on today with just a statement made or so by Aubrey Norton. Are we having another Joseph Harman on our hand? Why did we not surround the Marriott, in Region 4, with Aubrey Norton being the leader, of course, and saying that if he has no access to that forum, then nothing called oil and gas conference will go on. There should have been massive arrests, if you ask me, if that's what they wanted to go, because we had enough leaders on the ground today from around the Caribbean and so on to see, and even Africa. Most so Africa, Ghana, historically known for the West African slave trade and so on, transatlantic slave trade. We had a leader here to see how they treat Africans. This is a failure on the part of the administration and the opposition, because it was a moment for Aubrey Norton to demonstrate that he really means business. There should have been nothing called an oil and gas conference held today under any peaceful circumstance, with them doing what they did to the leaders of the PNC and, by extension, the opposition.
Well, not just that, by extension, the opposition, of course. Mr. Ramjatan is leader of the AFC. He was of the view that he said on my show that civil society, let them deal with that. Let them protest it. Because if they join civil society, then the PPP may want to say it's too political, something to that effect.
Yeah, but who cares though? Sorry for interrupting you, but sure. When did the PPP's opinion matter to me or to anybody else? If these people are showing you that, sorry, Mr. Bencham, if these people are going to demonstrate to me and to us that they do not care about Guyanese who are not on their side, as it may seem, when did their opinion matter? So if Ramjatan says that civil society deal with it, if civil society succeeds, then he takes the glory at the end of the day. Say, well, okay, then it's an easy road for us here. So civil society, meaning people like me and Mr. Best and others, we should fight for him to be respected. What manner of foolishness? It seems as if there's something has been put into our water in this country. Because when I hear the likes of Ramjatan and others speak, it is disheartening. It is ridiculous. When can a political leader of the AFC tell me that I should take the forefront in a battle of this nature for the future of this country economically? Come on, man, Ramjatan. What is left for you people to see happen to the ordinary Guyanese? My point is maybe all of you should furnish your resignation and let there be a new crop of warriors on the ground now to tell PPP Civic where to get off. There is no way that this should happen under the sun in this country when we had the opportunity, I say again, with so many critical leaders, especially the president of Ghana, who knows the history of Africans, who's opened the door for us to repatriate if we want to go back home to Africa, wherever they want to put it. He was on the ground here. And Ramjatan having a moment in the sun to say, okay, then this is it. We will demonstrate as AFC to show PNC how weak they are. Even that he failed to do. because he himself, it is tragic to have the likes of Ramjatan, and now I'm seeing, I give Norton maybe one more chance. But to have a weak Ramjatan and a weak Norton is destruction to the average Guyanese person who relies on them for leadership. Hence, I say on your program that neither Aubrey Norton nor Ramjatan can lead me. Worse, Irfan Ali. I'm not led by any one of these people. They are not leaders of mine. For me to be led, I have to follow you. And there's no way as a man that I would follow such people who are so weak and cannot take moments to stand. Why are they afraid of being arrested? Because that's the most the Guyana police force could have done today. I wish I had the opportunity to join Mr. Best, to join Glenn Lal. And I will take the opportunity because we have launched the We Fed Up campaign, and this will culminate in a joint, I hope, effort to protest the way protest should be done in this country. Because if we can't fight with our lives on the line, then these people who don't care about our lives in the first place will walk all over us. And at this We Fed Up campaign, I'll protest against Ramjatan, Norton, and all of y'all, because you are weaklings. And I'm fed up of you.
Mr. Best?
These are some of the sentiments expressed by a lot of us who are out there today, because people feel very disappointed and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. We need to make a statement and make a strong statement. Where is the opposition leader in that of Norton? Where are the MPs of the opposition side? Where are all these people? It even made it easier for them to join us since they were disrespected and didn't count. These people apparently would show back in the fancy vehicles or the fancy cars and just show back and watching us. All right? Sherrod came out there, but I noticed Sherrod was more or less interested in doing his podcast thing. He didn't really come to, from my perspective, to join us, to help pump this crowd up. And it took a lot. And we are the people who have no position, no monies, but we're willing to fight.
You know what?
And give
you know what, Mr. Best? You know what? Regardless of what Sherrod Duncan went out there to do, whether he went out there to distribute water or write down something or even speak on a microphone so that the world can see,
he showed
up, and he needs to be given credit for showing up, because 99% of his other colleagues in Parliament didn't show up. So we got to give Sherrod Duncan some credit. Apostle London.
Indeed so. It seems as if Sherrod has begun to step up to the plate, because in Parliament with Natasha Singh Lewis, he stood in her defense, and others are yet to stand as he did. In this situation today, he showed up again to maybe have coverage or footage. Whatever he did, he showed up. He was on the scene. But to have the likes of his leader, I think Sherrod represents AFC, to have the like of Ramjatan saying that civil society should take the forefront in this is unfortunate and disappointing. And then to have Aubrey Norton issue a complaint, if you ask me, that Jagdeo and others, his side, want to dominate the use and the expenditure of the oil wealth. Now, come on, man. When did Aubrey Norton get this knowledge that he is supposed to complain to the same people who has them in opposition in the first place? The ABCE nation have shown Aubrey and others that they don't intend to have Granger lead this country. Yet you're going to write some statement complaining to them, essentially, that, hey, listen here, based on what's happening at the oil and gas conference, Jagdeo and others don't want us to be a part of the equation. You don't ask to be a part of the equation if you're leading one of the strongest parties in the country. You make yourself a part of the equation. You make yourself the equation, because Aubrey Norton needs to let Jagdeo and Ali understand that if he is not, in reference to the PNC that he represents, if we are not at the table, there is no table to be had in Guyana. We have to get radical in reference to how we approach this matter. The days for schoolboy nonsense is over.
Well, let me ask you this here, both of you. Start with Apostle London. Aubrey Norton has just gotten into that position as leader of the party. He still has to settle down, to get his house in order, so to speak, and to understand what direction he needs to go. This is no excuse for Mr. Norton not being out there or his folks not being out there. But do you think it's too early to start chastising him, Mr. London?
No, thank you, and I appreciate the question. I understand the angle from which you've taken. I would never expect you to defend anybody. That's why I like dealing with you. But at the end of the day, Aubrey Norton, not me, Aubrey Norton said that before Congress in December, he couldn't act. His hands were tied because he said when he's elected, then he shall deal with matters like the unjust treatment we have, the tyranny in reference to Frank Anthony's and others' vaccine policy. He's yet to act. He said, I didn't say it, he said that once he's elected to lead the PNC, then he shall act. But hold on, Congress was 2 months ago just about. How much more time you need to act? He's still trying to figure out what Granger will do with him, whatever else it is. My point is you made a promise that once you are elected, you shall act. Today was the most opportune time to act because he had a chance to show that he could lead an army of individuals who were left in the wilderness by another weak soul. Now here's his chance. And he's trying to figure out, and this is not time to figure out what you have to do, my brother Mara. This is time to do what you have to do. I would prefer for Aubrey Norton to take the foot today, step on the scene, get arrested if he has to be arrested, and I promise you that things would have been different tomorrow in this country because he already has the momentum. But the talk without the walk would put him in a bad situation in my book and many other Guyanese books.
You know, I asked that question in order to get a better understanding. I am the one who believes that leaders should hit the ground and lead by example. I'm also of the view that you don't have to be elected into parliament to go out there and fight for the people. You're not a parliamentarian.
By no means.
You, Nigel London, don't say to the people of Linden, look, elect me into parliament before I can go and represent you guys. You don't say that. Odu Best doesn't say that, and I don't know. Odu, what is it you want to say, sir?
No, in response to the question you asked, Mr. London, and this is what I think that the politicians, the present politicians that make up the government, they fail to realize. I'm not speaking only on the government side. When I say the government, I mean the opposition inclusive. They fail to realize that they're not living in the 60s and the 70s anymore. They are still approaching politics with the mentality of the 60s and the 70s. And they realize that they're not realizing that the population have moved far ahead and way ahead of gone past this a very long time. And they seem to be demonstrating this fear continuously for the international powers. They don't know how to play them. They don't realize that they need to take a stand. They don't realize they need to take a stand. They don't really need to take a stand. They fail to realize that they need to take a stand against these people. Because these are the people who have put our foreparents through hell. These are the people that caused Guyana to lose one of its toes. Guyana had 2 toes. We only have 1 now.
All right.
Now, why do you still think you need to treat these people with this level of respect? Failing to realize you need to fight for your people.
You know,
I don't know what happened with the conversation between Mr. Norton and the American ambassador, but he seems to be taken back. Why are you demonstrating fear for the ExxonMobil people? Who the hell are these people? Anytime you decide to step up to leadership, you have to be prepared to die for your cause. And there was a repeated call by idiotic Guyanese trying to drive fear into the brothers. Boy, you know you could lose your life. You know this could happen. I say to them, whenever they come to me, I say, stop it right now. I am a man, and I shall act as a man, and I shall stand up. Don't bring that to me. I am a man. I came from ancestors, such as Coffee, Damon, the guys from the 1823. Those are my ancestors. We know what we have to do to get results. Don't ask me to be a fool. So I am prepared. Looking at
All
my
right.
brother, Mr. London, but we are prepared. They're not going to scare us.
Mr. London, we heard the speeches of those dignitaries who were invited by this illegitimate and this installed regime, PPP regime, that is racist in nature. What is your take on all this fancy speeches made today? In fact, I heard part of a speech that Irfan Ali welcomed everyone, except the opposition. I see some comments of people who are calling for folks in the opposition, Aubrey Norton and others, to be more radical with these people in office. Because sometimes, gentlemen, when you're out of office and you campaign, it is different than when you are in office. Take over, Mr. London. Please say something.
It surely is. And in viewing, because I had a very hectic day, as you're aware of, but in listening and reading the speeches, some of them, giving attention to certain snippets that I would have heard and excerpts, it's sad to know that leaders from outside of Guyana have got essentially the same call. Listen, this is about Guyana. Let all Guyanese benefit from what is about to happen to you. I find it interesting that the likes of Miyamati would be here when Barbados is not anywhere close to being considered an oil-producing nation. Indeed, they ranked 105th on the scale. But she is here as though she's a guru in reference to this oil production. They didn't bring Rowley, of course, because I guess they have an issue with him saying that he didn't follow them with the Sputnik nonsense. So we're seeing, I would have heard today, still, the call about developing as a nation, as a whole, which is a very good call. But I'm not impressed by speeches of that nature if the leaders did not essentially say, some of them should have the courage to say, listen, where's the leader of the opposition? Of course, you can be diplomatic about it. But let us have everybody at this forum, because Guyana has to move forward together. You didn't hear that from these leaders. It seemed to also have been a situation in which persons are gathering like vultures around carcass. So they know that this is Guyana's time. They see that because we are so small in terms of population, but yet so wealthy potentially, but we're not acting in that manner. This is a chance for them to swoop down upon us and to enjoy certain benefits. Because the PPP Civic has introduced Guyana to lobbying in reference to what they did with Mercury, I put nothing beyond them in reference to who they have here to speak to this nation. Just time will reveal who was promised what and who has what to gain. Because none of these leaders impressed me in reference to their genuineness, I should say, to see all Guyanese, especially those who deemed leaders, at the table today. Today is a day of sorrow for this nation because it's demonstrated before our eyes that we have people here who in the administration do not care about us as a people. And we saw from the opposition those who are too fearful to stand in reference to them saying they care. It's not going to work, Mr. Benchtrap.
I've noticed this particular comment. It says this is turning into an or reaching, but I don't see Harman out there, current leader of the opposition, and Mr. Granger. Why not mention them? Now, I would address, with all due respect, Mr. Haider Khan, that nobody is bashing Mr. Aubrey Norton. These gentlemen, and that is the problem that we have, part of the problem that we have. When someone offers their opinion or is being objective on a particular subject, individuals rush to say that is bashing. No one is bashing anyone. Joseph Harman is no longer the opposition leader, but it doesn't mean that he, along with all the other members of parliament who are absent there today from that protest, should not have been there. They should have been there. We all agree. The gentlemen on this program are expressing their views, and they are of the view that Mr. Aubrey Norton and the folks at the Congress Place should have been out there today. Maybe they'll be out there tomorrow. Maybe they'll have some other sort of protest. That is all. So I don't know why you should equate that to be some sort of Aubrey Norton bashing at all. It's not. Gentlemen, your closing remarks. Mr. Best, you go first.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ben. Just give me the opportunity to speak to the people. But it is time that this is Guyana's time. and Guyanese need to step up to the table and represent. We are calling on new leaders because it's clear that we're not getting the kind of leadership that we need from where we expect it. We need to stand up, and the other leaders need to come out and take the position. We shall not relax and throw back and allow Guyana to be divided up for others. And we're right here, and we have a natural right. We are not going to allow that to happen. In closing, I would like to say to the persons who are watching, we would need support, as much support as possible, as we go across the country to talk to people, to mobilize people so that they can understand what we're dealing with here. And so you can make contact with us because we need that support. We need the support to push our fight because we are willing to take it on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for what you do out there. I salute you, and good luck tomorrow as well. But let us get the closing remarks from Apostle London. You're welcome, Mr. Best.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate, of course, sharing this brief moment with you. It's always a pleasure, and also sharing here with Mr. Best. I commend them highly for taking the stands they would have done. I'll be out there as well, hopefully tomorrow or not the other day. I have to be back. I was in Georgetown today, couldn't be out there because I was dealing with my family matters. However, I did a broadcast to voice my issue, my concern, and to, like I said again, to launch a campaign which is called the We Fed Up campaign. We're going to collaborate with any group, including Ramjatan, if he has the strength to do it now, not anybody else. They have to have the courage to stand on the streets of this country for the administration to know that there is a line that has been drawn. I would like to close by addressing Ms. Heidi Khan, as you would have done. For us to establish something that's very critical to the Guyana's development, it is impossible for you to develop as a nation if any male especially, seeks to defend the weakness of another or the failure of that person. If Aubrey Norton is elected to lead one of the largest, most dominant political parties in this country, forget about opposition leader, he is elected to lead the PNC. His words of commitment were that should he be, or when he is elected, he shall take the helm and walk in reference to leadership. Do not tell me, therefore, that I'm bashing him if he failed to do so at this occasion. Should we give him 5 more chances to fail? This country is not being led by people who would have opportunities to develop courage when they were calling for the opportunity to lead. He does not need, first of all, I said it before Congress, you do not need to be elected to lead. You lead people regardless of whether you're elected. That's the leader. He must take the responsibility that he has failed today to act. Maybe he was sick. I don't know what happened, but he failed to act. Maybe he can give us an explanation. But I'm saying that if the course of action by Harman was always about statements being made, press conferences, and not street protests and action of some courage, then I do not like what I saw in Aubrey Norton today. It's simple. I do not support the PNC, and I wouldn't support them in this kind of behavior. What I support is Guyanese standing for their rights, standing in the interest of Guyana. I therefore like to call on everyone who has the opportunity to be out there to take to the street. Now, we know the Guyana police force will be used to deflect and to push people away from the marriage, but that's fine. Social media doesn't limit your reference to location, so we can stand anywhere and our voices can still be heard. I am certainly grateful for the opportunity to stand strong in this country and to make an impact, even if it has to be on social media. Make an impact wherever you are. The future of this nation depends on every Guyanese, and it's our time to stand. Thank you to Mr. Benstrom. Thank you, Mr. Best, and to your viewers as well.
And thank you, Mr. London, for what you do as well for the people of Guyana. Thank you both for your bravery. I salute you both and continue to support you and what you do. Best wishes for that Fed Up campaign, because we are all fed up. I hope the Fed Up doesn't end up like a Fed Up party that became fed up and no longer exists. And the leader of that Fed Up party is getting some contracts and so forth from the PPP.
Wow.
That's
obviously not. Some kind of fed up.
We're all fed up though, but thank you so much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I've noticed somebody asked, how come I wasn't at that protest? And I've had my days of hundreds of protests, and a lot of those protests were lonely protests. That's why I encourage people to protest. It is a part of your constitutional right. It's nothing illegal, absolutely nothing. And oftentimes when people sit back and do nothing, that is when the vultures and the political dictators, they step in and they trample on your rights. You must not be able to allow them to do that. With this oil and gas stuff, Jack Dave, they're taking Guyana for a ride. And all Guyanese must be able to stand up, must and should stand up, regardless of what. It shouldn't be who's afraid to protest or who was invited to a protest or the protest wasn't planned properly. There are times when I heard of a protest and I just mark up on my placard and I am there. You know, that's what a struggle is all about. I don't know. I still believe in giving people a chance. I still believe that people should be given a chance to prove themselves. We can't just write them off like that. And I'm not about to write anybody off. I hope tomorrow is a better day, even though an opportunity today is gone. And for those MPs who believe, the opposition MPs, who believe that a struggle is just coming on social media and talking up and pomposetting and so forth. In politics, that is not the sort of struggle. People need strong leaders, strong representatives who are not afraid to be locked up, who are not afraid to be tear gassed, who are not afraid to be jailed. As my friend, the late Shirley Chisholm, was the first woman, Black woman, to become a congresswoman, a member of Congress. She said, if you're not invited to the seat, take your own seat. And those in the opposition should have taken their own seat. But instead, what is happening? Lots and lots of excuses. Too many excuses for doing what is right, or for not doing what is right. Too many excuses. Enough is enough. I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time, right here on 107.1 FM. Have a great rest of the night. God bless you. Pray for that country. Pray for Guyana. It's in trouble. Serious, serious trouble.
She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cockacrow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cock-a-crow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Cock-a-crow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. The naga jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come. Sun a go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokonani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Banga Mary. Listen to this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. Them children glad when the weekend come. Out in the yard, them all gather round. Some a play catcher, some making house from straw. Two who come later, a grandma or grandpa. All a sit down just a wait. Moonlight so bright, it's just the right time to listen story or to say a little nursery rhyme. Grandpa voice a echo in the night as he tell you tales, some picnic are there with fright. Oh, Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma, Nancy, even Watamuma. Oh, Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma, Nancy, even Watamuma. Yeah, man.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one. What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one.